everyone. This is the 300 Club podcast. My name is Gil. This is Kelvin, and this is episode 23.
23, Jordan number. Jordan number. What's going on, Gil? How you doing?
Hell yeah, we out here, man.
How you feeling so far? So the Mets are down, down the
One.
game. They lost last
Yeah.
night against the Dodgers. The Yankees are up 2-0 as of right now at the time of this recording. How you feeling so far, man? What's going on?
I don't like the losses. I feel like the losses, both of them have been pretty much knockouts. I do like the bounce back in game two. I feel like even though the game it was what 7-3, I believe, for the most part the Mets dominated and it was a big gap. Um, I like the response. I'm not overly the top, like, oh shit, like, if we lose, we out of here now because the Mets have faced obstacles and stuff along the way in the last, month and a half or so. And even when they get punched, they get back up. So until it's the last out of an elimination game, then we still alive, man, and hopefully we bounce back tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, one of the most important things that I remember that I alluded to, maybe I think it was to a coworker. I was telling them that I think the first game that the Dodgers beat the Mets,
Yeah,
I was like, I'm more intrigued about game two because I want to know how the Mets respond. And they
yeah,
responded the way that they should. They ended up winning
yeah,
that game.
yeah.
So it's been pretty it's been a pretty intense.
Seesaw this series.
Yeah, and it's like even yesterday when I was watching the game, at some point they were down like 6-0, 7-0,
Yeah,
and I was like, I still want to stick tuned and watch because if anything, this Mets team has come back from deficits and they've
yeah,
had been getting to rally. So it's kind of like, yeah, you want to turn off the TV, but at the same time, you don't want to miss what eventually can happen. I will
yeah.
say though, that home run by Shohei Ohtani sealed the deal.
Oh
Damn,
yeah, that and Kike that knocked us out yesterday for sure, for
top
sure.
deck home run too.
I would say like despite Severino not being like his best sharp self, he still kept us in a ball game. And again, that's all I can ask for. I believe when he got out the game, it was 2-0. Like the Mets could have rallied back, but the bullpen just didn't help. This guy Trevor McGill, he just didn't have it, and I kind of question Mendoza a little bit why he left them for Otani because
Right.
there's a stat that Otani's like hitless with no runners on, but then he's hitting like over 600 with runners on base. So you got to pay the numbers a little bit. But in
Yeah.
hindsight, I think he left them in because the game was so out of reach that he doesn't want to blow another bullpen arm for like today or tomorrow. So that's my thought process behind it. Even though I didn't really like that. But yeah, man, the bats got to step up, bro. The bats
Yep.
they're a little cold, and besides those grand slams in this series, they haven't really done much. And guys like Jose Iglesias has been so high for us this year. He's been pretty awful in this series. Like if you really focus on his at bats, like his approach batting right now is so different to what his strengths are. Like he's swinging at pitches that he usually lays off, swinging at pitches out the strike zone. And that's kind of hurting us because he's been put in spots where there's always a lot of runners on base when he's hitting and he's just not delivering.
And he
And
has
that
to
kind of,
cash in, yeah. And it's
kind of
tough because he's not really that type of player. So it's like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
asking a lot out of a guy who
yeah,
essentially signed a minor league contract this
yeah,
year. Even
yeah,
though he's been excelling for the Mets, you're
yeah.
asking a lot out of a guy to be productive when that's never really been his forte. I wanted to show you really quickly from this observation on the first game, game one against the Dodgers, where you guys lost 9-0.
Yeah.
Flaherty was pitching, Single was pitching. I believe he didn't even get out of the first inning, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
What were some thoughts and opinions that you would like to share involving this game? Before I pass it off to you, I will say I didn't really agree with Singa more or less. Like I felt like I don't know the environment of somebody who hasn't really pitched all year to be put in that environment. Game one, I feel like maybe game two, game three would have probably been a little bit more sufficient. Like let him get accustomed to the Dodgers hitter, let him get them notes. But I get it from the Mets perspective. They were trying to set the tone. It just didn't work out that way.
well, his go-to pitch is the fork ball, the ghost fork ball. He just didn't have it at all. And I think since he didn't have that at all, he couldn't feed off his fastball. His fastball wasn't locating. So it was just a recipe for disaster. You can easily tell that he did not have it. I can see why you would question why he was a starter. I think they just wanted to give him that boost of confidence. And even if you only have him for like, what, 2 or 3 innings, I guess the Mets would have looked at it as a W.
Right.
Maybe I would have went with Manaya game one if he was, rested. He's been the best pitcher currently, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like now though, like assuming we win tonight, for example, and then tomorrow's game five, I don't know if I put Senga back out there as a starter. Maybe as a reliever, have that elite arm, maybe an inning or two, middle of the game. Sure, but as a starter, I don't want to try that tomorrow if we win tonight. That's my take on it.
Would you have him as an opener?
No, I'll have him as a reliever, middle of the game. Like let's say maybe you start Peterson. If Peterson is struggling or has a high pitch kind of after five, maybe
Right.
you could throw in Senga for like 1 or 2 innings and then turn it over to the bullpen. I feel like that way you don't
You protect
it's a different
yourself.
yeah, it's a different preparation and like that you put Peterson back in the starter spot, which he's been doing most of the year. And yeah, I like those chances better. I think that's my opinion.
Yep. And then for game two, the Mets went on and rallied, and I feel like at this point, I feel like the ties could have been turning. All you needed was one in LA. All you needed was one, and then the
Yeah,
home field
yeah,
advantage just
I'm
swings
happy
your
with
way.
that. I'm happy with that.
Right.
All I can ask for is you split because this is how I look at it, right? If the team has the home field advantage and you're the road team and you split one of the first 2 games, then you kind of have the home field advantage on your end. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Assuming you take care of business at home in those 3 games, but nonetheless, I'm happy they split that 2 game set in LA.
Yeah.
Hopefully we
Mania
can win one
too.
or two
Great
here.
performance.
Say that again.
Sean Mania with a great
Oh,
performance
he's
too.
a baller, bro. That dude
Yeah,
is
yeah, he's
phenomenal.
proven it.
He had Otani looking crazy too.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's definitely crafty. I feel like he definitely took a page out of Chris Sale's book.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen like the before and after videos where
Oh
his
yeah.
delivery has changed into more of a sidearm, and it's been
Yeah.
working out for him. I mean, he's a crafty pitcher. One of the highlights, man, is that in this game, more specifically, Vientos just has been phenomenal, dude. Swaggy
Swaggy
V.
V.
Yeah, he's been killing it. But as we look out over the rest of the lineup, and I'm going to get into the Yankees because it's still somewhat similar, is that we need to get better performances out of what's going on in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah.
Like you have Jose Iglesias batting 222. Starting Marte has been doing starting Marte ish. Pete Alonso definitely have subsided a little bit since the Brewers series. Brandon Nimmo, I know he's dealing with a lot of injuries right now. I know he's hobbling right now. But maybe you should reconsider him pacing him on the fourfold, you know? And then Vientos has just been carrying the offense, man. I can't say enough good things about him. He's been batting really, really well. Really, really well. One person I thought I think will have a bigger impact out of everybody here in this lineup was Alvarez, dude. I was expecting a little bit more out of him.
Yeah, bro. This dude, bro. He's very it's a lot of headaches when you watch him, bro. I feel like this dude, I support him, I root for him. I know he's young, so I'm trying to give him some grace, but he's been put in a lot of situations, batting last, but with runners on base, and he's just not delivering. Like it's strikeout after strikeout. This
Yeah.
dude chases at everything. He's so jumpy when he bats. Like I want him to be a little more relaxed.
Right.
And then I'm confused because yesterday this dude has all year been swinging like erratic, hitting, swinging at everything, and then yesterday he strikes out 3 times just looking without swinging. So I'm like, it's definitely something
Something's
mentally
off.
with him, you know.
Yeah. I feel like
Mechanically,
he reminds me of a little bit of the knucklehead part of Gary Sanchez
I can see
in
where
that
you.
aspect. Like the inconsistencies and the struggles are very similar.
Yeah, because the power's there, but you got to hit the ball. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I do think. I mean, they're not gonna do it now because it's mid series. But if I were a hitting coach, I think I would recommend him to change his mechanics or his batting sense. I don't think it helps him at all. If you really focus on Alvarez from the whole year, like he looks beat a lot of times on fastballs. Fastballs that he should be ripping down the middle, but he's just not getting it because his bat is in the shoulder, and by the time he's looking at it and loading, the ball's already
It's
beat
already
him.
yep. He
The
might be
same thing I
prepping
said
too
with
late.
Alonso before too.
Yep. Yep. I agree. He might be prepping too late. Prepping too late.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, the game after that, game three, man, I just felt like Otani really did his thing and really just put a stamp on that game. But I don't know, man. There was something about that Mets team to me that looked a little bit lifeless. And then I began to wonder, is fatigue beginning to wear in a little bit?
Yeah, that's something you brought up. I don't know that to be honest because they did have some a few days, but like to your point, it could also be true because they've been playing high intense games for so long, as we mentioned for the last several episodes. So you could be onto something,
Yeah,
And the
but I will
Dodgers,
say this.
hmm?
The other side of the spectrum, it could be fatigue, and I'm sorry to cut you off. It could be
Yeah,
fatigue, but here's the other thing: is that Luis Severino, as much of a rock he has been for the Mets this year, Yesterday, I saw him batting a lot. Like for example, it seems to be always a man or two on base for the Dodgers, and he had
Yeah,
to fight through that. So there's essentially, if you're throwing in fatigue as a possible factor, having your defense playing defense for a longer duration of the game can also wear down on them too. And I think that that was apparent. The fact that they weren't able to smother any runs, man.
yeah. Also, something to the point. I feel like the Mets have a lot of walks on the pitching side in this series against the Dodgers, and that's
Yeah.
just not a recipe to have success. You know, like I believe I saw a stat in the first 3 games they have over 18 walks. That's too much, bro. So
It's
many
way too
runners on
much. It's free
base.
bases.
It's free bases, and like you pointed out to Severino, like yeah, he's trying his best, giving us a chance to win, but he's dealing with high leverage moments every inning because there's always a runner on, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been bad. But nonetheless, man, hopefully they could come around. Do they play today by any chance?
Yes, they play
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock,
Yes.
yeah, and the Yankees is going on right now at the time of this recording. But
Yeah.
nah, man, I still feel like listen, until the fat lady sings, I still put the Mets on there. I mean, this has been their MO all year. They've been fighting, so why
Hmm.
not stop? Why stop now? I
Yeah.
think there's something special about this Mets team. Is there
Yeah.
anything else about the Mets that you want to go ahead and highlight?
Just gotta cash in when runners on, man. We've
Yeah.
left a lot of runners on, and at some point you gotta pull through. Hopefully tonight you got Quintana. He's been besides Mania, he's been our best pitcher too. I don't
Yep.
think he's allowed to run in this whole playoff so far.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yamamoto, I think he's coming back from an injury. So if I'm the Mets, I'm looking to attack him early, not let him get settled in. I know the weather's colder, so like for example, yesterday Severino and Walker Buehler both. Like if you're really paying attention, like the sweepers is going crazy. It looked like a wiffle ball last night, you know, especially with the
Yeah.
wind
And the
factor
ball ain't traveling either. I
and the
mean,
ball didn't travel. Like I felt like
yeah.
Lindor, Vientos, and Peter Alonso hit some shots yesterday that were just flyouts. They just died, but they look good off the bat, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I am my observation going into this game is honestly going to be the pitching of Yamamoto. I feel
Yeah,
like he's been very inconsistent. That he might be. Shout out to Melo. He might be, a little bit, like he might be due to either do bad or do good. I want to
yeah,
know who Yamamoto is. At least when it comes to playoffs, because
yeah.
he's a great pitcher, nonetheless. But this year in the majors, he really hasn't been as successful as people might have predicted. So my
Right.
eyes are going to be in Yamamoto. How the Mets going to be able to respond? It's at City Field. You best believe that the crowd has been bonkers, and I want to get into that a little bit. My observations between Yankee Stadium and City Field. I haven't been to City Field yet. I went to a Yankee game recently against the Cleveland Guardians,
Yeah.
but I can tell the City Field right now. It's very electric. So those are my things I'm going to be watching tonight. To switch gears now into the Yankees, dude. The Yankees are 2-0. I don't remember the last time that the Yankees were up this many games this
Yeah.
late into playoffs. I think that for the past seven
Close to
to
a
eight
decade,
playoff
bro.
right for the past 7 to 8 playoffs that we've had, we're either behind, we're tied, but we've never been this comfortable. But again, that's what worries me the most is how comfortable are you? Now, somebody that's been pretty comfortable at the leadoff position has been Gleyber Torres, and I wanted to go ahead and discuss it right now. That has he redeemed himself in terms of being a possible returning athlete for us and the Yankees? Like, is he possibly going to resign with us? I think that he's definitely in the conversation, but I feel as though that going into free agency, because the Yankees are going to want to target the Juan Sotos of the world, that he might be an afterthought, and I think that that's going to be enough to push him towards another team.
Could be a bidding war. It could be timing.
Yeah,
It's a
and if
lot of
it's a bidding
factors.
war, the Yankees lost because they're not going to want to.
They're not gonna want to overpay him either.
They're not gonna want to overpay him. I think that's what it is. And
Yeah.
I feel like he strikes me as somebody who loves being a Yankee. He said it recently in a postseason interview that it did get to him a little bit this year, thinking about the free agency, but he can only control what he can control. It was a great soundbite brought to you by the Yes Network, um, where he just expressed himself and he wanted to be vulnerable. He was like, "Well, I need to be honest," and it did bother him. But he has been doing really good in playoffs, man. He's been setting the tone. He's been leading off. He's had leadoff double after leadoff double. And as of right now, where the Yankees are right now, we're not completely hitting, but he has. And he's been setting the table for the Juan Sotos, the Judges. It's just that we need to start cashing in. And I think that's been like the biggest thing.
I agree, bro. I've watched some of the Yankee games too. I think the concerns that I've been bringing up over the year, I feel like they're kind of showing in this series and in the previous series. I just think that I don't know how you feel, but Bello. I just feel like they play the Guardians. I feel like anytime the Yankees play the AL Central, I feel like they typically dominate. I personally wouldn't have too much concerns about the Yankees not advancing. I feel like they're in a great position. I feel like it's a lot of psychology and stuff too. That anytime they play the AL Central, most likely they would advance. I
Right.
just think that if they play the Mets or the Dodgers and those flaws keep showing up, then it could go to bite them later
Right.
on.
Yeah, and
Um,
you can see it like the brand of baseball that the Dodgers are playing. For example, they're playing relatively clean baseball. Making great defensive plays.
yeah,
They're running the bases aggressively. They're getting
yeah,
hits and they're pitching well. And that's literally the formula to win. The Yankees, on the other hand, the Cleveland Guardians dropped the fly ball. They're not playing to their strengths
yeah,
defensively.
yes,
They're not. The Yankees are also not hitting as well. And when we're hitting, it's solo home run, maybe a two-run home run, and then we still can't push runners in scoring position with a base hit. And
yeah,
again, these are the things that I'm gonna be honest. In the ALCS, it is a glaring difference between the brand of baseball that the Dodgers have been playing and the brand of baseball that the Yankees have been playing. And
yeah.
if it's Yankees and Dodgers, I might have to give it to the Dodgers at this one because of the way that they've been playing lately. I still feel like the Yankees are trying to, excuse me, still trying to find it. Why are you trying to find it? It's the ALCS
Yeah, I mean the only thing in the Yankees' favor is I think they have better pitching at this moment versus the
at
Dodgers,
this moment.
only because of the injuries they have. They do bullpen games sometimes. They had question marks with Walker Buehler. He had a great start. Question marks with Jack Flaherty. He had a great start too. So that's the only downsides. But like to your point, they've been playing better baseball. The Yankees still getting caught lacking with the base running mistakes,
Way
striking
too
out.
many. Way too many. At this point in the game, bro, that's way too many.
Yeah, you can't give it. You can't give away outs when you need them. Every out matters.
Right? And it's like it's coming from the same players. And it's like, dude, like these are things that we can't afford to happen at this late in the game. They just can't. They just can't. It's not right.
How you feel about you was in the Aaron Judge game, right? Where he hit the home run.
Yeah, I was there. I was there.
He needed that.
Yeah, I mean, he said it best. He felt as though the ghost of Monument Park were pulling that home run towards his way. Um, I was just a lot of the observations I was seeing from Aaron Judge's at bats is that, bro, he's always in an 0-2, 1-2 count,
Yeah.
always. And I can say that about a lot of the Yankees hitters, like Jazz Chisholm specifically. Every count that he had was 0-2. From the minute that he was talking shit about the Royals up until now, every count that he's had has been 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. And like I told you before, you can't talk shit and do
Yo, bro,
bad.
that's what I want to ask you. So since he said what he said against the Royals, his numbers have drastically dropped. Do
Yep.
you feel like that's something that comes back to haunt him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, you never want to add fuel to the other team and you never want to put yourself under a bigger microscope. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are some players that can back it up, but in this situation, Jazz Chisholm is not. Right now, he's batting 118, which would have been a lot worse had he not gotten that RBI I'm sorry, that double the game that I went. But besides that, he's been relatively quiet and striking out a whole lot. Again, this is just something where it's like if you're gonna talk shit, you gotta be able to back it up. But six strikeouts might not seem a lot, but in the ALCS, that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. And it's like, dude, like, and he's making errors on the bases. Like, we were saved by the grace of God that he did not get that out, that the called out when he was robbing second against the Royals.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but he was out on the bases where he attempted to do a swim move. At first impression, I thought he was safe, but seeing that he was eventually tagged at the wrist, like these are things that just can't happen, man. And then Anthony Rizzo went and did the same thing.
At
Um,
second base, so you talking about?
yeah, at second
That was
base,
the
the
game you
same
went to,
game,
right?
right? Yeah, and it's
That's
like I
bad,
understand.
bro. Like again, the Yankees are clearly they most likely gonna beat the Guardians, but against a high quality baseball team, you can't be
You
doing
can't
that,
be
bro.
doing that. You can't. Not only are you not unable to cash in when there are runners in scoring position, but you're also getting yourself out. That's crazy to me.
And you're distracting the batter too. So
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like with Josh Chisholm, man. I love him as a Yankee. I think he was a great fit. at least according to the Yankees, I think he was a great fit. The clubhouse seems to love him. He's definitely opened up some eyes at third. I think he was a great fit. I think we needed a player like that, somebody that's definitely out of the norm. But at the end of the day, it's the playoffs. You gotta put your money where your mouth is, and you need to start doing your job, bro. At least on the offensive end.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to note was like Anthony Rizzo. He's playing with two fractured fingers,
Mhm.
and he's been hitting better than anybody else on the team, right? On with broken fingers. But here's my thing. For the record, I was against Anthony Rizzo playing in the ALCS. I did not want the fact that
Really?
somebody with broken fingers is taking away at bats, important at bats, away from people who are relatively healthy. Personally, I just didn't want to take that risk, right? I would have much rather had Oswaldo Cabrera pick up the bat and hit a healthy one versus an injured Anthony Rizzo. However, Anthony Rizzo has been hitting pretty well. But you know what that tells me? I think he's retiring at the end of this year, bro.
Really?
I think the Yankees recognize that he's a free agent at the end of this year. I mean, the Yankees are not going to pick up his option. I think he's a free agent
75.
at the end of this year, exactly. Um, this is a guy who's beat cancer. There's a guy who's fought through many injuries. He has a World Series ring. He'll be forever embedded as a Chicago Cub. He's up there in age, and he's not the most intuitive guy when it comes down to taking care of his body. Like he's not like a working out type of guy. There was an interview with Aaron Judge on the Casa de Club, Corey Kluber's podcast, where he said that his first impressions of Anthony Rizzo was every time he gets a new player onto the team, he always observes as to what they're doing, what makes this person great. When he observed Anthony Rizzo in jokingly fashion, he said that Anthony Rizzo did one of these and hit a 450 home run in center field in Yankee Stadium during batting practice. He was just like, wait a minute. Like, did I miss something? You're telling me this guy literally got off the bench, stretched his back out, and hit a bomb? Like, maybe I missed something. But
Yeah.
that tells me about Anthony Rizzo. That tells me that that's how he prepares. But I don't see a lot of longevity with that. So I think that Anthony Rizzo knows that his time is up, or at least this is possibly his last chance at winning a ring. I think that he's trying to lay it out all on the table. He said to reporters, I feel pain, but when there's 50,000 people in the stands, I feel nothing at all. So, again, to me, that looks like he's about to retire, bro. And I don't blame him for
Um,
playing right now. I don't blame him. But at the same time, like I said, it's successful right now. But what the odds that he was not going to be this successful with two broken fingers in his right hand? The odds were very slim, man. I don't think I would have signed off on it.
I see why the Yankees did it. I'm not totally against it, only because I feel like the Yankees needed like a veteran presence, somebody that's been through the grind, somebody that has won before. Um, I feel like they wanted a more experienced first baseman defensively, and I feel like he gives them a different dynamic in the offense. Even if he's not doing great, but he could take his pitches. He doesn't strike out every time. He puts the ball in play. So those little things matter. I think that was the thought process behind it. So I respect it in that way.
Yeah, I respect it now, but like I said,
It was
it's
a
because
gamble.
things are going good. Things are
Yeah,
going good. But if another world, let's say if he wasn't doing so good and he wasn't able to catch up to the fastball, I think that Anthony Rizzo is respectful enough that if he knows that he can't go, he won't risk it.
yeah,
Um, but man, like I said, every at bat that he takes, man, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. As long
yeah,
as we continue to be productive with runners in scoring position, I don't care
yeah,
if it's sacks fly. I don't care if it's a sack fly. I don't care if it's
yeah,
a bunt. But we
yeah,
need to do better at that. And
yeah.
in terms of Aaron Judge and his performance now in the postseason, I'm hoping that the home run will come up. But I don't know, man. It gets harder and harder. I mean, the Dodgers when they come in, or the Mets probably. Like we'll see, man. We'll see. But at the end of the day, we need people to step up. It can't just be Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and
In
Gleyber
a
Torres.
in a weird way, I wanted the Yankees to play the Astros in the playoffs.
Me too, because
The
I feel like that
reason
would have been
why
a better testament as to who we are.
That's why I wanted them to play a better brand of baseball. That if they were to overcome the Astros, they will feel good about themselves. Like, yo, we just beat a great team that's always been our kryptonite all these years, and now you carry that momentum into the World Series. Whereas you're playing a team like the Guardians, who they played the Royals last
The
round.
Royals,
Like
yeah.
those are teams that you should be beating.
You should beat
And
them. You should beat them.
exactly.
You
Then you
know.
face the Mets or the Dodgers. It's a whole different brand of baseball, and it's like again. it goes to my point. Like maybe those errors or mistakes will show up in that series. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I see. I feel like we'll probably have the easiest road to the World Series, and that's not necessarily a good thing because what wait for us at the other side of the spectrum is gonna be a very very tough team. And I do think the Mets are a threat. I do think the Dodgers are a threat. Honestly speaking, I both they're equally as a threat to the Yankees, both of them. And it's like I'm missing the game right now, and it's like I wonder how it's going. I'm gonna have to run it back and see and take some
Yeah.
notes and see what's going on. But man, like right now we're down 2-1. I think this is the first time that we're down against the Cleveland Indians, and excuse me, the Cleveland Guardians. But I right, but I want to see how they respond away. Like these are
Yeah.
things that like are gonna tell me like, does this team have what it takes? Because not every team is gonna be perfect. But let
No.
me tell you this, dude. All those years that the Houston Astros were winning, those years that the Boston Red Sox have won, and I'm not just saying it because they beat the Yankees, but I was able to observe what makes them better, what made them beat the Yankees. The Yankees are not playing like those teams were back in the day.
Nah, they were
Not
playing
no
quality
timely
baseball.
hitting, right? Like there was no timely hitting. There wasn't enough gas in the base running. Our pitching has been good, but and I say this for now. I say it for now, because anything can happen. Like Edwin Diaz having a 5 point something ERA right now, that doesn't tell me anything. It's playoffs. Everybody's statistics is gonna be really bad or really good. There's no medium in playoffs. So if we haven't allowed that many runs in the bullpen, then don't you think that we're kind of due? You know what I'm saying? And it's like the longer that it goes, is it gonna happen game 5 in the ALCS? Is it gonna happen game 7 ALCS? Is it
Yeah.
gonna happen the first 3 games in the World Series? You don't know, man. So I don't know. I just feel like we could play a better brand of baseball. I'm not impressed. I'm happy. I feel relaxed. I think they do too. But I want to see how you guys respond, man. Are you guys gonna continue to wake up early in the morning? Are you guys gonna necessarily do everything you gotta do to make yourself win? Or are you guys gonna get complacent?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something, the Cleveland Guardians, bro, a very underrated team. I think that previous years, Cleveland Guardians teams have been better than the team that they have now,
Yeah.
right? However, we don't know the Devin Fries of the world, what impact they're going to have. We don't know the impact that a Stephen Kwan is going to have. Jose Ramirez is still there. Andre Jimenez is still there. Rocio hit a bomb the other day.
Taylor
You
brothers.
got Big Christmas. Like, you know, they're not the same, but they're still a scrappy team. And even though they haven't played to their strengths, guess what? They're in Cleveland right now. And they're
Yeah.
winning right now.
Yeah.
So you never know. A 2-game lead, I'm not comfortable.
Question for you before we wrap up. So I noticed that the Yankees added Marcus Stroman to the ALCS roster. He
Hmm.
still hasn't been used correctly.
It has not been used.
How do you think a player like him may feel, and how does that vibe spread through the team? Like and again, we talking about Marcus Stroman. He's had a good career, but he wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Right.
He prides himself in that. So I'm pretty sure he wants to be in the game. I'm sure he wants to have the ball on him.
Anybody would. I get it.
How do you think he feels, considering that he has a multi-year deal with the Yankees? Does that change that relationship with the Yankees, like going forward?
No, I think he says something where at this point in his career he doesn't have any ego, and I feel like right now he's living his childhood dream, being playing for the Yankees. When he became a Yankee, he took a pay cut because he wanted to be with us so bad. Yeah, it probably wasn't in his plans to not be pitching in the postseason as of now. Um, I think the mature Marcus Stroman is looking at it as like, I'm playing for the team that I always wanted to play. They gave me an opportunity. I'm here now. I have an opportunity to make a real dream come true, even if it doesn't involve him pitching. So I think that the mature Marcus Stroman is handling it well, or at least according to what he's told to the media. But I do think the Marcus Stroman deep down, who he actually really is,
It's hurt. Yeah.
it must hurt him. But at the same time, wouldn't it hurt anybody though? You know?
I mean, yeah, but this dude was a previous All Star multiple times, and
Yeah.
now not being used for like that's a big ego switch. Like
But
that hurts,
yeah,
bro.
but at the end of the day, you put yourself in a situation. This is something that you could have controlled. You could have done
Oh
better
yeah,
throughout the year to put yourself in a
yes,
better situation. And
yes,
bro, as a fan, I want to see Marcus Stroman pitch.
yeah,
I want to see, what that is. Um, but we just haven't been comfortable as of right now to have a big enough lead to plug them in. Like we have Luis Hill. starting his first game of playoff, and this is like 3 weeks
Tomorrow.
after his last start.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
He
you
hasn't been
know,
used either, right?
he has not been used. We've used the same pitchers. Like,
Who's the three y'all using?
well, right now the rotation is Rodon, Cole, in no order, and Rodon, Cole, and Schmidt,
Oh, he
and
started
then
started again?
yeah, he started already, and then you have
No Nestor,
in
right?
in the bullpen, no Nestor, he's still here. I don't think he's coming back
Hmm.
this year, I guess. But for the bullpen, we've been using Miza, Tim Hill, excuse me, uh,
Candy,
Cardiac,
right?
Clay Holmes,
Candy. I've seen Candy a few
and
times.
yeah, Canley and Weaver, and that's it. That's been literally it. Like I said, it's just more about like we either need to have a starter have a bad start or the team smoke the team so bad that you could bring in anybody, But we haven't been there yet. So to answer your question, I would love to see Marcus Stroman. No pressure if he pitches or not. I'm sure deep down he wants to. But right now, dude, like, hey, we're winning and you're gonna get a ring. So what does it matter? Maybe it adds on a little bit of motivation going into next year. If he's gonna stay with us next year, most likely he's gonna be in this situation again next year. So listen, postseason heroes come in any shape and size, bro, and at any given moment. And you never know. He could come out of nowhere, pitch a no hitter for all we know. We
You
don't
know,
know.
last day before we wrap up in the last series, Yankees and Royals, there was one player that stood out to me, and I wanted to see if you noticed because we had a conversation about him a few months ago, and he was killing. He was actually killing for the Royals in that series. He was playing right field, someone that you don't really like, but
Oh, Tommy Pham. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now you can see why he finds himself in teams that either go on deep runs.
They said it
Like
best on the broadcast. He's a bat
yo,
for hire.
he went 3 for 3 against Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole was like, "Yo, I'm shutting the rest of the lineup, and this dude, I cannot get him out, no matter what. I throw him a fastball, he gets a hit. I throw him a curveball, he gets a hit. Like, and Cole was laughing. So, just to point it out real quick, like Tommy Pham still has talent in some type of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I take it back. Like him just getting him. I mean, I don't like him as a player
The vibe, yeah,
for the vibe that has been portrayed. Maybe outside of baseball, off the field, or maybe if I know him personally, I will have a different set of opinions. But from what has shown, I'm not a fan of it. However, I will say this: he balled out on the Royals. He's a bat for hire. He was traded to them, or I think he was designated for assignment, and then the Royals picked him up. And nonetheless, he's a great bat to have. And he's had a lot of postseason at bats as well. So for the Royals, it worked out perfectly. Man, I hope and pray nothing for the best for Tommy Pham, dude. He looks like a good guy outside of baseball, whatever the case is. I don't know where he's gonna go, but like I said, that's always a bat that like you need to have in your lineup for these scenarios. And who knows, maybe he stays with the Royals. I thought it was a good fit for him.
yeah. It was a good risk to get him. So that's all I can
It
say.
was a good risk. I mean, for any team, like I said, he's a bat for hire. Any team that's looking for a playoff run and needs a bat due to injury or whatever the case is, like I could have pictured Tommy Pham for the Atlanta Braves when Ronald Acuna went down. Like
Yeah.
he's one of those, but that's still very crucial because every team knows what they're gonna get out of you, and that's just a testament as to what you've done in your career. You're good. You're good, bro. Anything else?
Nah, man, just wrapping this up. This is episode 23 again. My name is Gil. This is Coven. Let's go, Mets. Yankees Nation. We out here. Hopefully, next time we record, we both get all we want, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully by this time next year we get that Subway Series. Man. That'd be
Yeah.
crazy. That'd be crazy that we started this podcast this year and then we get that Subway Series.
Yeah, that'd be something.
That's crazy. But nonetheless, man, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you guys go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment. We love to hear you guys' opinions on what's going on right now, anything baseball related. And yeah, sign us out.
We out here, 23, 300 Club. Gilbert season, we out of here.
Yes, sir.